The Mystery of Bilocation, Padre Pio during World War II. It was a cold winter night in 1943, at the height of the Second World War. On the battlefields of Italy, Allied soldiers fought fiercely against the Axis forces, facing not only the enemy, but also hunger, cold and the constant fear of death. Among these soldiers was John, a 21-year-old American who served as a military chaplain. On a particularly violent night, John found himself separated from his unit during an intense bombardment. Alone and lost in enemy territory, he was desperately looking for a hiding place. His thoughts turned to his family and his faith, which had always been a pillar in his life. Not knowing what else to do, he began to pray, asking God to protect him and guide him back to his platoon. As he prayed, John felt a calm, comforting presence at his side. When he opened his eyes, he saw a Capuchin friar with a serene expression, which gave him an immediate feeling of peace. The friar told him not to be afraid and guided him through enemy lines, finding a safe path back to his platoon. The friar's voice was soft but firm, and John felt an inexplicable confidence in him. When John finally reunited with his companions, he turned to thank the friar, but he had disappeared without a trace. The soldiers, amazed by John's report, told him that no one else had seen the friar and that it was impossible for anyone to have crossed enemy territory in that way. Meanwhile, in San Giovanni Rotondo, Italy, Padre Pio was at the monastery, carrying out his daily activities of prayer and confession. That same night, witnesses stated that he was present in the monastery chapel, engaged in deep meditation and prayer. The friars who lived with him confirmed that Padre Pio had not left the monastery that day. Days later, back in the United States, John heard about an Italian friar named Padre Pio, known for his stigmata and mystical gifts, including bilocation. Curious and still impressed by his experience, John decided to investigate more about Padre Pio. Upon seeing a photo of the friar, he immediately recognized the man who had helped him on that fateful night. John wrote a letter to the monastery at San Giovanni Rotondo, describing his experience and thanking the friar for saving his life. To his surprise, he received a response stating that Padre Pio often prayed and interceded for soldiers during the war, and that many others had reported similar experiences of bilocation. This story became one of many evidences of Padre Pio's extraordinary gift of being in two places at once. Its ability to bilocate has not only inspired the faith of many, but has also offered solace and hope in times of despair. For soldiers fighting in the war, Padre Pio's miraculous presence was a sign that even in the darkest circumstances, they were not alone. Thus, John's story and his experience with Padre Pio during World War II remains a powerful testimony to the faith and mystical gifts of this humble friar, whose actions transcended time and space, touching the lives of countless people around the world.